All praises and all glory to the Most High. This is Yad. I'm here again to make another video for your viewership. I have a few new subscribers, and I just want to say I'm very, very grateful for you guys joining with me on this journey. I hope you guys, are here for the right reasons, because maybe there's a video I made that you may think this is who this guy is and this is what he does, and I might not be that person that you want me to be, but I hope that we all learn something from this journey and we all grow together to be even better servants to our Father in heaven. My purpose of making this video is to talk about the Ytbc, that's the YouTube Black community, and drugs. I know it's a bit of a sensitive topic because there's all kinds of substances that people like to take for some reason, but drugs is not a good idea. That's pretty much what this video is going to center on. I find that a lot of the time that our people seem to be very blasé about using drugs. Sometimes they have some YouTubers who actually even promote using substances and stuff. The real question you have to ask yourself is like, what is the real benefit of using these substances? I'll wait. If you could tell me how this enriches us as a people, let me know. But my advice to anybody in this world, and I'm going to be using this in videos like this that I make, if you weren't born with it, you don't need it, essentially. So the only thing that we are born with is food and water. And you can also make the argument for clothing too, if you want to look at it, from a certain perspective. When we were babies in our mother's womb, we needed to get nourishment from the placenta, from the mother, and we had to be clothed by the mother's body. So when we were born, then we had to be fed external to the mother, and by the breast, and we also had to be clothed, with clothes and whatnot. So these are the only things essentially that you need to live: food, water, clothing, or shelter as well. You can also class that as shelter. It's just my own, opinion, my own take on things. So anything else that you add to your life that you suddenly think you need is bogus, because the whole point of taking these drugs is that you have a sense of need, or as they say, a sense of addiction. Because they say addiction, but it's a lot more than that. There's a lot of things behind using drugs, because a lot of us don't know God, and the only way I think for you to get away from using drugs is for you to know God and for you to trust in Him and learn about Him. This is just from my own perspective. If you think you have a better way, feel free to keep following that way. But I haven't taken drugs, but I've smoked, but I'm no longer a smoker, and it's only because of my Father in heaven that I was able to stop, because of His word in my life, and I trusted in Him, and I did what He put in my heart to do, and I stopped for the past 2 years, and I haven't looked back since I stopped smoking. But smoking obviously is not the same thing as taking drugs. So even like with smoking, I'm not going to say I'm partial to smokers. All I'm simply saying is like, if it's like this is some sort of pet peeve thing, like this is something that someone has to deal with God, they have to stop doing this thing, but this is like something that they have to go to God with. It's not something that I can help with. Fine, like fair enough. I'm not going to sit here and be vindictive towards people who still smoke. I'm not going to see people smoke and be like, oh, why are you doing that? Unless God puts it in my heart to do so, But at the same time, I'm not going to be like vindictive. I'm not going to be more accepting because I used to smoke. No, because right now I don't even like the smell of smoke. So I'm pretty much in the boat of people who just do not like smoking. Period. So I can't obviously use this too much of as an example, because taking drugs is a bit more stigmatizing than smoking, and also it's something that can lead to you losing your job depending on what kind of job you're doing. So that, again, um, that's one of the disadvantages of smoking, and it's a big deal if you have a family. So the question now is, what's most important to you? You know, what's more important to you? Is it your addiction, or is it your family that counts? And these are things that God put in my heart to understand when I was doing what I was doing. And this is smoking I was doing. Talk less of or talk more of using drugs. You know, do you really care about the people who you live with? Do you care about the people who you love? Do you care about the people who you're having sex with, as you know, husband and wife, and sadly boyfriend girlfriend, which is overrated. But do you really care about these people? You know, because when you take drugs, you will be under the influence of that drug for the period of time that it's active in your bloodstream, and that means that you are basically you're basically playing chess with your life, or you're playing drafts with your life, basically. And at that point in time, you will be like, I wasn't in control of my senses. But the question is, why did you put yourself in that position to not be in control of your senses? Why do you have to expose other people to that state that you happen to be in? Why do people have to go through that experience of what you have decided to allow in your life? Because that will also affect other people, the people closest to you, and the other people at large, depending on how bad your addiction is. There are people who still have some semblance of control when they take their drugs at home, and they are stoned at home, and so on and so forth. But there's some people who it gets to the point where they have to take the drugs in the car, they have to take it in the back of the office, or they have to take it in the toilets, or they have to take it in the airplane toilet, or you have to take it basically in the most inappropriate places, you know. So basically, taking drugs is a very selfish thing. It shows you that you might also have some level of narcissism, in that you are only focused on yourself, because you have to be selfish to be able to do something like that, where you honestly do not care what happens to the people who love you the most. You don't care what they think about you. You don't care what might happen to them if they happen to do something that you don't like while you're in that state. Because while you're in that state, you don't have full control of your faculties, and they might say something that might trigger you, and you might end up going after them in the worst case scenario. Of course, not everybody is going to do that, but that's the kind of justification a lot of people make when it comes to taking drugs. Oh, not everybody is going to do that. Oh, I'm taking drugs for years, I'm taking it for decades, nothing happened to me. Don't listen to these people. Do not listen to these psychophants. That's what I have to call them. I'm sorry, but anybody who supports drug use is a psychophant. I don't care what kind of drug it is, whether it's marijuana, whether it's cocaine, whether it's ecstasy, whether it's basically any kind of drug that puts you in a certain state. It's just not a good idea at the very least. And if you allow me to impress upon you, leave off it. Leave off taking drugs. Leave it out. Leave it out. Trust in God. Take your problems to God, and watch what God does in your life if you give yourself to Him. You understand? There's nothing that God cannot do. What I'm telling you is the understanding that God gave me concerning using these things. I'm just sharing it with you. But at the end of the day, only God can give you that conviction to stop doing it. That's just the reality. That's the reality I've seen. I'm telling you what I've seen. If you think what I'm saying is bogus, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to live your life. You and I both know this. What I will tell you though is that if you let me tell you, is that using drugs is not a good idea. I've noticed that a lot of YouTubers are using substances, and some of them may actually use it while on video. I know I could go down the route of, oh, you have kids watching their videos, but we're living in an evil world, so kids say a lot of things that they shouldn't be saying anyway. I'm not saying again it's good for kids to witness that, but it would be cool though if we could be a bit more understanding of who our audience is, because we have a lot of our brothers, a lot of Negroes who are young and they're coming up and they're literally coming online looking for guidance, you know. And if they see somebody starting a video smoking something like weed, you know, in the least case scenario they're just smoking, worst case scenario they're taking drugs or smoking weed, you know, it doesn't really send the best message, because they start to think that that's the right thing to do. On that note, it's not really the best thing for a child to try to learn manners on a YouTube video. I understand that, but at the same time, there's some kids who may not have the best situation at home regarding their fathers, you know, their family, you know, they may not really have the best living situation. Maybe their dad has died, or their dad left them for some other woman, or their dad divorced the wife for whatever reason, or the wife divorced him and vice versa. You know, just any other reason, they have children, just happen to have a huge proliferation of children in the millions online. That's what I've seen from the few years I've watched videos on YouTube and other social media. There's a large there's a large group of people online, who are children watching these videos. So you taking drugs and talking about drugs, promoting drugs, and sometimes when I look at that, I also have to think, the person that does this, are they some sort of shill? You know, are they some sort of like, are you a paid shill? Like someone like Joe Rogan now, for instance, who has a predisposition to promoting the usage of marijuana. You know, why would he do that unless he was being paid to do it? Because it doesn't make any sense. Why someone would? It's like me saying, "Oh, I'm smoking, and I want everyone to smoke." It doesn't make any. Even when I was smoking, I never had that kind of mindset. You know, I never really. To be honest, the only reason why I liked smoking, and this is for another video, is for me it was like an activity, and that's what majority of the time taking drugs is. I imagine. I'm just trying to guess what it's like, because I've never taken it and I never plan to take it. Thank God, you know. Thank God for His mercies. But at the same time, like, it's not something that you should be promoting like that. Someone that promotes taking drugs, something that is not something that you actually need to live. He say, okay, it has some medicinal properties. No, it doesn't. If you say maybe you have an injury, okay, it can nullify the pain, but that's because your brain is somewhere else. It's like drinking. I mean, that's another video for another day, but your brain is literally somewhere else, you know. At the same time, they could give you an anesthetic. Why they would promote medical marijuana is beyond me. I'm not saying that you can't take it for that sort of thing. After all, it saves lives, according to what some people say. But what you might find after that is that some people will get hooked on it. So, okay, after you've gotten past the life-saving part, why do you have to stay on it? That's what's supposed to happen to the majority of people who will be given these drugs as a means, for whatever medical reason they've been given those drugs for. Some people say they might take it because they have anxiety attacks. Why do you have those anxiety attacks in the first place? What leads up to that anxiety attack? Look